Hello friends, welcome to Universe of Naruto X. If you love Naruto what if stories and anime explanations, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Now let's begin today's story. You panicked. I'm sorry. What was that? Manado asked, not believing what he just heard. You panicked. Yandai-sama frowning slightly. Manado replies. What makes you say I panicked? You, a seal master, managed to touch someone who could become intangible twice and never thought to slap a chakra suppression seal on him. I think you panicked. ... You might be right. I did have a village and my family to save. Interesting. You said village first. Well, this has been just a delight, but I'd like to speak to my mother now. Yandai-sama. Nah, please. Can't you call me something else? It's either Yandi or Prick. I'll let you choose. You can tell me next time. By Yandai-sama. As Manato's chakra presence fades, Naruto takes a moment to think about what his father told him of Kurama's release. Feeling uneasy about the details of the first few hours of life. Before Naruto can dwell on the new information for long, another presence greets him. Hi, Sochi, the redhead says. Hi, Ka-chan, Na replies. In another part of Naruto's mindscape, Manado is with Kurama. Poor little Hokage looks sad. I'd take more pleasure in your misery if you weren't a construct. That's enough, demon. I won't be mocked by you. It's bad enough my only son hates me. Do you mean demon? I'm a being of pure chakra. I'm more of the natural world than your foolhardy could ever be. Where do you get off calling me a demon, __, especially when I allow you more time with your son? Goddamn ingrate. At least the tomato appreciates what I'm doing for her. G-men. Kurama, you're right. It's just hard seeing how much Naruto hates me. You have your village to thank for that. And if you have any hope of Na forgiving you, you need to understand the source of his pain. I know he's had a hard life. No, not that. That adds to it. But you've been deified in your village. Na grew up looking up to you above all others. The perfect and universally loved Manado Namikaze. He wanted to be you, to be that accepted because of what you've achieved. Then on the same night he finds out why people hate him. He realizes his hero did that to him. Not only that, but his hero is probably his father. This near godlike man not only left him alone, but was loved for doing it. It's not rational, but a part of Naruto believes you could have done something else because a childish part of him doesn't believe there was a limit to your abilities. At least he did. He may start to see you as just a man, and if he does, you may earn his forgiveness, but not if you insist you were right to leave him. I didn't have a lot of time to plan this. You know, I know he suffered, but what was my option? Let you destroy the village and kill thousands while I run off with my family. I couldn't live with myself, and this is why he'll continue to hate you. You did have an option. You chose the one that saved the most lives, but at the expense of your son. You left him unprotected. Manado, approaching a near sea, wanted to point out he had left protection for Naruto, but was cut off. Before you say that you left contingencies in place, you knew your sensei's personality faults. It was entirely predictable he'd leave your boy alone or go along with whatever Naruto wanted. He may be a great shinobi, but he's a weak man and has shown his response to turmoil is to run away. So, you left your son with an irresponsible middle-aged adolescent. Manado wanted to defend Jiraiya, but he couldn't. He loved his sensei, but seeing Naruto's memories left him with the impression that while Jiraiya was an excellent sensei for him, that may have been an outlier and the man never truly intended to be there for his godson. I don't know what to do. How can I apologize for what he's been through when I'd make the same decision? I couldn't justify sacrificing that many people for my own happiness. That you'll have to figure out yourself. Why do you care if I square things with Naruto? What's in it for you? A matter of self-interest. His emotional stability benefits me and that's all I'll say on the matter now. Away with you, prick. Kurama finishes with a chuckle. The morning finds Na waking up, tears in his eyes, but feeling lighter. While he still didn't know how to feel about his father, he adored getting to meet his mom and loved her red hair. Thanks to the conversation, Naruto had someone to meet today along with his other activities for his last day of F before he enters his intensive training period. Looking at the clock, Na realizes he's slept in, but can meet Tenten at her team's training grounds if he hurries, so he sets off to get ready for the day. After a quick shower and small breakfast, Na gets dressed in his signature orange jumpsuit and heads to training ground 9, where he sees the team wrapping up their exercises for the day. Walking over to the group, Naruto greets each member. Oho, Lee, Guy, Sensei, Tenten, Neji, Chan. Oh. They all say except Ne that glares at Naruto, noticing the vest. Uzumaki, you were promoted? Neji asks in disbelief. Yes, Ne. I guess it was fated to be, Na says with a barely hid smirk. Your flames of youth will surely reach new heights, Na. Guy said, thank you, Guy. Sensei, I appreciate that and only hope my youthful flames burn forever brightly. Yash shouted Lee and Guy as they make their exit. Tenten, I do not understand how you have befriended this moronic boy, stated Ne. Tenten, not wanting to be in the middle of Naruto and Neji again tries to deflect the comment but is interrupted by Na. Neji, why don't we get along? I see us both as strivers trying to fight against a stacked deck. So why are we so acrimonious toward each other? Now I know you believe in fate, but you believe that if things were fair and positions decided by merit, you'd be in Hinata's position. Yes, now Ne has been around Naruto enough to be cautious. He thinks for a moment, trying to find the trap, but cannot see it. So answers honestly, you are correct, Uzumaki. If clan head was decided by merit, then I would be the heir, not that failure. Now, Ne, I recall a double elimination during the prelims, so she isn't really a failure. But I take your point. How about I make you a deal? I will treat you how you believe a fair and just universe would operate. I acknowledge you, Neji, is the most talented Hyuga of your generation. Taken aback, Ne can only nod at Naruto's pronouncement. Hey, Tenten, you busy? No mission today and I don't have to work at the shop. Why? Oh. I figured it'd be a good time to meet your idol. Both Ne and Na were temporarily deafened by her squeal. As they depart, Na bids Neji a good day. Bye, Naeem, he says, leaving the boy irate. Why do you always have to poke at him, Na? Tenten asks, trying not to laugh. Honestly, it hurts knowing I'm not first in your heart. Tenny, did our love mean nothing? You just cast me aside for fancy bloodline limit and a perma scowl. I thought we had something. Tenten gains a tick mark over her brow and proceeds to draw a kunai which doesn't go unnoticed by Naruto because he immediately takes off shouting. Tenten says, why are you running, Na? I'm not going to hurt you. You lie. I won't be taken in by your sweet words anymore. Vile temptress. This response causes Tenten to throw her kana at a retreating Naruto, barely missing him. The two continue to run until they arrive at Hokage Tower where Tenten stops and looks visibly nervous. Seeing this, Naruto puts a hand on her shoulder and gave her a reassuring smile. See, she's calmed down. The two enter the building and make their way to Tsunade's office, stopping at Shazan's desk just outside. Hi, Shazan-san. Is Tsunade available? Hi Na, you know you don't have to call me San, don't you? Hi. Sorry, force of habit. No worries. And is this who you told me about? Yes, this is my very good friend and Tsunade's biggest fan. Tenten, this is Tsunade's longtime apprentice, Shazan-ko. Hi. It's really nice to meet you, Tenten. It's nice to meet you as well. Now Tsunade-sama doesn't have a lot of time but I did make a little room in her schedule for you so go right on in. Walking to the door, Na knocks and waits for permission to enter. Once given, he walks in and introduces Tenten to her personal hero. While this is happening, Kakashi is having discussion with Asuma who is overseeing the training of Team 10. I talked to Pop last night. I'm beginning to think the old man has lost his mind. Holding back a scoff, Kakashi responds, if only we were so lucky. No. He knew exactly what he was doing. He also let it slip whose Naruto's parents were. Can't tell you how stupid I felt not putting that together. Taking a long drag of his cigarette, Asuma continues, I know it is late in the game, but I'd like to make it up to Na. I understand he's entering some intense training for the next few years, so any help I can be, let me know. I appreciate the offer, but if it is out of pity, he won't accept it. It's not. It's just most shinobi understand the boy isn't what he contains and pat ourselves on the back for treating him neutrally. It's so easy to forget how he's actively saving the village and what he lost in order to do it. We owe him a lot and far too few people acknowledge it, content to write him off. I know I did, but I'd like to change that. Okay, I'll let him know. He has a food and affinity, but Danzo is training him on that. At the mention of Danzo, Asuma quirks a single eyebrow. I know what you're thinking, but he's actually changed. Don't know when or how, but him and Naruto have a previous relationship, and now he isn't all. Darkness is my ally and world domination. Why? Like he was, but I'm sure we can figure something out. Na isn't likely to turn down training. Asuma responds with a single nod, and Kakashi cushions away. Na made his exit shortly after introducing Tenten Tsunade. While he didn't have a lot to do today, there was one important visit he needed to make as prompted by his mother. Before going, however, he needed to pick up something, which is why he is in this market right outside of the clan compound. District. Making his way to the liquor aisle, he finds what he was looking for and heads to the cashier, preparing himself for an incident. Na is shocked with the cashier rings him up, smiles, and tells him to have a good day. He says the same to her and continues to his destination. Finally, making it to the Inuzuka compound, Naruto heads to meet Tsun, his godmother. He takes a minute, remembering how animated his mom was when talking about the clan head. Soy. I'm guessing Serbi never told you Tsun was supposed to look after you if something happened to me, did he? No, he didn't. I've never even spoken with her. I know her son and he's an __. She was too, Kusha said, laughing. We used to fight all the time at the academy. The day we became friends, it's because we got stinking drunk on some cheap sake she lifted from her parents. Watching his mom act out her drunken hijinks with Tsun delights Naruto and brings a tear to one eye. He can't help but think of how much he missed out on and how many things he isn't even aware he's missing by losing his parents. Kusha's story reaching its climax refocuses Naruto. So her parents find us on the Inuzuka training grounds. Every time they try to scold one of us, the other one speaks up in defense. At some point, I yell that I will lower the drinking age when I become Hokage. Databane and then pass out. We had to clean the kennels for a month, but had been inseparable ever since. Earth to Dobby. What are you doing here? Na snaps back to attention when he hears Ka address him. Oh. Hey you. I'm here to speak with Suman. So. If you'd excuse me. This only serves to irritate Ka, who has no issue letting it be known. First of all, don't pretend you don't know my name dead last. Secondly, what do you want with my mom? Look, Kidra, Naruto said while narrowing his eyes, figning as if he's struggling to remember. What I have to speak to your mother about doesn't concern you. So, if you would please either announce me or get out of the way, I'd appreciate it. Now, this would seem an entirely weak effort to annoy someone. And it is, but Ka is just easy like that, much to Naruto's amusement, especially now that the boy seems to really want to hit Na. But after a strongly worded warning from Karani, Sensei Ka knows he can't attack the Dobby. So, instead, he screams in frustration, which alerts. What the hell is going on out here? Hello, Suman. I don't know what's wrong with Ka. I just asked to speak with you and he seemed greatly upset by the request. Oh. That's odd. Deciding to not investigate it further, Sum moves on. What can I do for you, Na? I was hoping to talk to you and I wanted to give you this, he said, handing her the bottle of sake. Looking at the bottle, Sum instantly tears up, remembering her lost friend. Before she can even ask the question, Naruto speaks. I know, and that is enough for Tsun to invite Naruto in while sending Ka off to run an errand. Sitting in her kitchen, Tsun looks at the boy that was supposed to have such a different life than the one he's led. Never has her loyalty been tested as when Serui denied her permission to adopt Naruto and later forbade he from having any contact with the boy for fear she'd reveal his heritage or Ki him grow too attached. She can't help but wonder how Naruto knows and if he resents her. While not raised as one, Tsun knows from Kusha that Uzumaki are family first and she would have ignored Hirozen entirely to be there for Ka and Hana. Getting lost in her grief and guilt, she almost doesn't hear Naruto speak. So how should we do this? We can start with what you know and how you know it. I've suspected the Yandere is my father since the night I became a genin. I had that confirmed and learned of my mother's identity while retrieving Tsunade Sama. As for how I know about you, the night the Yandere and my mother sealed the Kyuubi inside of me, they both left a chakra imprint in the seal which I managed to access last night. If I didn't know them, I'd think that impossible, Sunam said in between chuckles. After her laughter died down, things became quiet once more, as neither party knows exactly how to have this conversation. Reaching her breaking point, not that she ever had much tolerance for inaction, soon starts. Naruto, I'm sorry. Please don't apologize. I'm assuming Serbi told you to stay away from probably some deep-seated need to torture me, Na said with a mirthless laugh. But the comment seemed enough to break the ice as the two found conversing came naturally from then on. The two talked at length, Na asking about his mom, asking about some herself. Soon followed suit while congratulating Na on his promotion. It had been a few hours, but it felt like minutes when Naruto saw the time and took his leave, promising to stay in touch. On his way back to his apartment, Naruto is filled with an optimism he hasn't allowed himself to indulge in quite some time. He is actually looking forward to the future. Training begins in earnest tomorrow, and he'll have no excuses. He'll either show he has what it takes to be an excellent shinobi or he won't. The chance to live on his own accomplishments and effort unencumbered is almost intoxicating. But this new hope isn't just related to being a shinobi, as Naruto also enjoys the idea that he doesn't have to fear the villagers as much, not having to hide his friendships for fear his very presence will taint their reputations. Not only that, but he has new people he can potentially rely on. While it is too soon to say he fully trusts Tsunade or Shazan, he has to admit that there does seem to be an ease to which they understand each other, but time will tell and he'll enjoy the relations while he can. Thinking back on that night in the bar with Tsunade, Naruto can't help but think about Sasaki. For so long, Sasaki was an outsized presence in Naruto's life. The tragic genius the villagers loved but whom he could never bother to love in return. Naruto would never lie and say he wasn't jealous of Sasaki, but it was never because of his so-called talent or how things came easier, which is remarkable when you have dedicated sensei, but people believe as they wish. No, Naruto's jealous was that Sasaki knew loneliness but chose to stay that way. In a way, Sasaki was no better than Inari. He did nothing to help himself. Instead, chasing after his own personal boogeyman because it was easier than grieving his losses, and so much of the village enabled him to do s. Oh, lost her family, too. But she had spent years serving others. Her two greatest losses were stacked on top of numerous others. Sasaki could never reach out, not because he was traumatized, but because he simply didn't value anyone to the degree he valued his clan. And if Na was being honest, that too fueled his resentment. The simple fact of the matter is that loneliness cannot be cured by purely yourself. It takes others, and that means that on some level Naruto was dependent upon the very people who cursed his existence. He needed them and he hated it. He didn't have the framework of clan-bred arrogance to universally diminish all those not of his name. Sasaki did. And while it only continued his suffering, he never had to feel the true torment Naruto did. Some bastards have all the luck, but luck eventually runs out. Quickly moving off the topic of his dead teammate, his first kill that no one was there to actually help him through. Na instead focuses back on his hopes for the future. If nothing else, the next few years should be interesting, but interesting isn't always good. It was the next day and what appeared to be a habit Kakashi had shown up on time. Na, I have 6 months to get you into shape and this will be the hardest thing you've ever done. We've got some areas we have to focus on. Conditioning, taijutsu, and kenjutsu mainly. I already know your enjutsu is good, so we likely won't be expanding it just yet, more refining it, so you've mastered the ones you know. We'll also be developing your tactical thinking. Any questions? Well, I'm trying to develop a new style of combat fujutsu with a friend. Will I have time to do that? Yes, that shouldn't be a problem, but for now, I want you to run around the village wall and then get back here. Also, don't use chakra. Once I get a sense of your baseline, I may add resistance seals to your training. Now, get going. Several hours later, we find an exhausted and pain on the ground getting an ice smile from his sensei. You know, sensei, you don't have to look like you enjoy my misery so much. But I do. I love breaking new recruits. It was my favorite activity in Anbu. Anyway, I'm impressed with what I've seen, and we have a good place to start building. I'll see you tomorrow bright and early. Kakashi says before leaving in a swirl of leaves, cursing his bastard. Sensei Naruto picks himself up and starts home. On his way, he gets an alert from a security seal. Someone had breached his apartment. Close enough to his place when he got his alert, Na extends his senses, and while not familiar with the chakra signature, he can tell their likely Junin level. Not wanting to foolish rush, and he tries and successfully locates Kakashi and makes his way there. An unsuspected knock interrupted Kakashi and his reading time. He opens the door to see his student, confused as he's never revealed where he lives to his students. Sorry for bothering you, sensei. I got an alert from a security seal that someone is in my apartment and I sensed it was someone of Juna N level. Oh. And that's how I found you if you're wondering. I'm a sensor. I sense things. Who? I'd normally handle it myself, but I've yet to recover from your assessment and was wondering if I could get a bit of help. Kakashi's single eye darkens before he gives Naruto his eye smile. We're going to discuss this sensor ability you failed to mention. As far as the intruder, I'll check it out. Why don't you go get something to eat and I'll find you when it's over? No problem. Thanks, sensei. Kakashi only nods before he shuntions away. Inoki Yamanaka is not an unreasonable man. He understands that he might not be Naruto's favorite person while following orders he's earned the blonde desire. However, coming between a man and his only daughter is crossing a bit of a major line. Doing so while boxing him in with S-class secrets is just downright in this veteran shinobi's estimation. So, yes, Inoki is a little hot right now. Enough so to invite himself in as to guarantee an audience. It appears so. It's just going to be a civilized chat, so there's no issue. Just a calm exchanging of ideas between two rational adu. You know, he keeps some really good tea in his cupboard. A nice soothing blend. You'd never expect the knucklehead to have such good taste. And yet, there it is. May I make you some tea, Enonoi? I doubt Naruto would mind. Hiding his surprise that Kakashi managed to sneak up on him, Inoki declines the tea. Where is Na? Mama Inoki-san, that's not important right now. I'm much more interested in where you are and why. What business could you have with my cute little Chunin? I believe that's best left between Naruto and I, Kakashi. And yet, that's not going to happen. I think it'd be better to accept your current reality instead of clinging to what you'd prefer. Fine, Kakashi. Na revealed something to my daughter that is driving a wedge between us. I wanted to discuss this with him and advise he be more mindful of his words in the future. You know, Inoki, that sounds uncomfortably close to a threat. I'd really hate for you to threaten my student. It would upset me ever so. And your emotional state would be my problem. No. See. If you're threatening Naruto, you won't have any more problems. Your clan will like what happened to Enoki. Who is going to be clan head? Who will comfort poor Ino? You know, things of that nature. But since you aren't threatening my student, this is all rather moot. Wouldn't you agree? Kakashi said as if rather bored by the topic. I believe I would, said with a sneer. Good. Oh. Annoy. Yes, Kakashi. We won't have this discussion again. Take that however you like. Yan. 3 months later. 3 months as a Chunin. 3 months of intensive training in Naruto's progress was satisfactory according to Kakashi, who only say satisfactory to get on Naruto's nerves. Anyone else would be extremely impressed with how far Naruto has come in solidifying his basics and expanding upon them. Not to mention his conditioning, even if Na promised to send 100 exploding kanai up your bastard should Kakashi make him climb up the cliff of a mountain single-handedly. In the middle of the second month, Asuma joined to help Na develop his wind-enabled kenjutsu, especially helpful as Naruto decided to go with dual Kodaki. Things are going or also going well in his personal life. Na interacts with his friends in public and has yet to have a single incident with the villagers. He has also been able to help them in their training for the upcoming Chunin exams in Suna. He's even resolved his issues with Kurana, figuring that while she was in the wrong he took out previously he LD frustrations on her. Now the two are perfectly cordial to each other, which just fine for him. Na is still trying to crack his new combat fu and jutsu but hasn't quite gotten it, though Tenten is hoping as it would help augment her style. Na had the idea soon after he managed to graft the explosive array on a kana. Na theorizes that he can get elemental barrier seals with kana operating as the points of creation. If he can get the array right, he won't need specific kana for each element. Instead, he could use hand signs and the equivalent chakra for AD or C rank jutsu to erect the barriers. If he can get the barriers to work, then other arrays should work as well. This would mean being able to prepare the battlefield on the spot if ever ambushed, and the liability of writing seals during combat is removed. Naruto has also been learning to write seals with his chakra, but that has been slow going. Not just because of the difficulty, it requires the seal to be perfectly memorized instead of Naruto's process of feeling how the seal is made and above average chakra control. Never one to quit, he is having his close work on both those issues, getting some insight about sealing from his parents. He has managed to upgrade Manado from prick to bastard and has gotten some chakra control exercises from Tsunade. Speaking of which, Tsunade-sama, why are you here? Oh, that's hurtful. Naruto, not happy to see me. Of course, I am. I was just expecting Kakashi-sensei, but he seems to be running late. Well, that's why I'm here. Kakashi was just assigned a last-minute mission, and I agreed to handle your taijutsu lesson for the day. Naruto doesn't have the words for how much he really doesn't want to do this. Isn't no for restraint. He's seen her break Jarius' ribs and say what you want about his failure of a godfather, but the man isn't exactly weak. However, he has no way to get out of this. So, his only hope is to minimize the damage. 1 hour later, you could have hit me less, you know. Grinning from ear to ear. But then, how would you have learned? Learn what? Sama 1. I have a long memory. 2. She says, narrowing her eyes at Na. Don't ever call me Bar-chan again. Na takes a minute to think. That was months ago. Also, I didn't even mean it. I couldn't take the risk. She says, laughing as they separate. When she is comfortably out of earshot, Naruto starts to mutter, don't call you Bar-chan. I'll call you Bar-chan if I want. Abusive Hoage is attacking loyal shinobi. You shouldn't talk to yourself. It makes you seem crazy. Crazy is attractive. Gives the impression of hidden depths. Who told you that? I told it to myself. I need a new best friend. I wonder if Ino or Tenten are free. So cruel, Hinata-chan. So very cruel. Besides, I'm irreplaceable. Well, I won't know until I try. You wound me. I had something to ask you, and now I'm not sure if you just ruthlessly cast me aside. I could just beat it out of you. Nah, not your style. I could tell everyone you're afraid of ghosts. Everyone should be. They shouldn't exist. Both walk quietly for a moment until Naruto notices a devious smile on Hinata's face which makes him feel hot and cold simultaneously. Please tell me Nakan, she says in a meek voice with a bit of blush. Feeling flustered and not knowing why Naruto can only stare at his friend before managing to get out. You can do that on command. Yep. Why? Like it. I reserve comment. Anyway, he looks away and Hinata notices his seemingly forced lack of eye contact. I was wondering if you're free or whatever, if you'd like to go on a date with me. I suppose I could do that, she answered neutrally while internally freaking out. Of course, you'll have to speak with Hiashi because Kami forbid I not be treated like property. Yay. I know. When do you think I could get in to see him? He can make time now. No point in delaying. There actually is. I've just been dodging mountain crushing fists and need a shower and a change of clothes. That didn't matter when you asked me because you already like me. Hell, you've probably seen me to this. Hinata can only blush. Just come to the compound in 2 hours. Okay, sure. Hinata-chan, see you then. The two head to their respective residences. Hinata, grateful he didn't acknowledge her lack of denial. Arriving to the compound wearing a semi-formal outfit of black slacks, a dark blue long-sleeve shirt, and black loafers, Naruto greets the guards who promptly retrieve Hinata, who has also changed into a lavender kimono. You nervous? She asks. No. He lies. Liar. She knows. I prefer artistic interpretation of real-time events. He replies with a smile. Most liars would. She offers with a smile to match. As if most liars could be as great as me. Both snicker but stop when they arrive to the study of Hiashi, awaiting permission to enter. Once received, Hinata enters first, followed by Na. Good evening, Otis-sama. Hi Sama. They greet the clan head. Daughter Uzuaki, why have you requested to speak with me today? He says without a hint of emotion. Thank you for your time, Hiashi-sama. I am here today to request permission to date your daughter. I see, he says, and then leaves the room quiet. I will allow it on the condition Hinata relinquishes her title as Aries of the clan. Both are shocked even if a small part of each teen realizes they shouldn't be. May I ask why she'd have to give up being clan head to date me? First, because to be a leader, one must be able to sacrifice for their ambitions. And Hinata's quest to uproot generations of Hyuga tradition is quite ambitious. That cannot be achieved without cost. She should learn that now. In exchange for breaking off all non-professional contact, however, she will get my full backing to remove the cage-bird seal when I transition to the Elder Council. Secondly, she is an ace. You offer nothing that benefits the clan. My benefit to your clan is not kill most of the man branch. Narrate thought, but dared not let it show on his face. Finally, said, continued. The Sandame does not trust you. He has considered you a possible threat and I have no reason to question his judgment and as such I will not trust you with my daughter. Why do I have to break off all contact? We have been friends for years. Hinata said, refusing to cry in front of him. Yes, you haven't, it benefited you, but I think it has long since stopped aiding in your development. As such, there is no real reason to continue seeing this boy. The choice, however, is yours. Both leave the study shocked at what has just happened. Making their way to the front gate, Hinata hugs Naruto and starts to weep as he hugs her back. I'm sorry, she whispers. Why are you apologizing? Because he's making me be like them. Making it a choice of your happiness or the general welfare of others. It's not fair. It's not. But I couldn't ask you to give up on your goal, nor risk getting sealed for me. I need you to do something for me. Anything. Just name it. Move on. If I accept this, he's likely going to start accepting offers to court me, and I don't want you to miss out on being with someone else. So, please promise me. Hesitating initially, Na relents. I promise. Neither of them had the courage to say goodbye, so they separated at his promise. She heads to her room. He off the compound. It would be 3 days before Na revealed what happened to anyone. Finally opening up to Kakashi after he saw his pupil seeming distraught. While he had no advice for his student, he did express sympathy, knowing that the boy rarely seems to catch a break and the Sandame's misguided notions have once again negatively affected Na. 6 weeks later, as he watched his apartment burn, his thoughts go to his history there. The day that then kind old man showed him his own space. The day his first friend gave him practice can because he complained the ones at the academy felt wrong. The day the second most quiet person in class came to check on him after a particular rough day of bullying. How he stayed for dinner and the two just talked about everything. Hobbies, dreams, what his clan was like, just anything. The feeling of going to sleep knowing he'd made another friend, someone else who cared. But mostly his thoughts certain around a certain girl. So shy, so outwardly delicate, and yet she made the first step, likely summoning every ounce of courage she had and came to his door on his birthday. She came into herself in that apartment. It became a safe space for both of them. And sometimes Naruto thought of it as their place, their sanctuary from all those that doubted and dismissed them. More thoughts about the meals shared, the stupid jokes, how she helped him study, and how just by talkie. NG with her, she came out of her shell and lost her stutter. Something it took her bastard father months to notice. He wasn't to some extent likely will always be hyperactive, but she always invoked a sense of calm within him. He remembers the exact day he knew he had fallen in love with her. It scared him like nothing else, but excited him all the same. A thrill like no other, and while the emotion was so unfamiliar to him, he knew he'd never wish to give it up. Even if she never felt the same, he'd cherish it. The ability to feel this way about someone else was so many things. He'd happily give himself over to it. So overwhelming it was somehow innately realizing the freedom in submitting to it. That last thought caused Naruto to do something he hadn't done in years, something he promised himself he'd never do again. As he watched the flames dance in the apartment complex and give an ethereal glow to the night sky, Naruto started to let his tears fall. First a single, followed up a second, and soon a steady stream. He couldn't even focus on how his body was betraying his will. He couldn't muster the fight to cut the tears as he watched, almost in a trance. Naruto's tears were not for the apartment as such. He had money and could find a new place to live. It wasn't for the mementos, as he had his most precious items protected in a fireproof storage seal. No, any physical item lost could be replaced. It wasn't even the memories. Those had become so essential to him that he didn't need physical cues to spur them. They were always readily accessible. No. Naruto's tears signified his loss of hope. He had hoped that there was a way around Hyashi's pronouncement, his irrational stipulation. The burning of the apartment felt like he was losing her again. Only this time, it was final. There would be no clever last-minute ploy, and she would never agree to an undercover affair at the risk of her oppressed family. He couldn't be that selfish to even tempt her with the offer. No, this is just one of the many things this village has taken from him. His parents, his development, at times even his sanity, but he had always had to back down to put those fights off, understanding that he'd have to survive the injuries. Is done to him before he could start to fight back. But no longer. No, this is the last thing they take from him without losing something in return. He thought, trying to hold on to his rage, as it was the only thing keeping the all-consuming despair at bay until it failed completely. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't help but think of all he had lost. Never would they share a quiet dinner together again, just happy in each other's presence. Never would he get to take her on a romantic date for her birthday as he debate whether the pink in her cheeks were due to the chill in the air or her reaction to him. Never would they share a first kiss, a first dance, a first time. Never would his dream come true, a dream that many nights had been a source of comfort. Not that he expected the dream to stop, but now the meaning would change. The warmth of optimism would now be replaced by the cold rebuke, a cosmic punishment for his hubris. How dare he think he'd be allowed to be the least bit happy, to even have the simplest of wishes for his future. Weapons shouldn't dream, demons shouldn't hope, but there are things weapons and demons can do, and they are things he's been becoming increasingly adept at. Whoever levied this most grievous insult would be dealt with in the harshest of ways. That's a promise of a lifetime. Believe it. 2. Thamayu. A distant voice said. Na couldn't tear his vision from the fire to even begin to acknowledge someone was talking to him. Figuring whoever it was got tired of trying to gain his attention, Na felt a hand on his shoulder immediately followed by the sensation of a shunshin and then a hug. So disoriented, it took him several moments to realize he was in the Hokage Tower and its sun unit hugging him. Finally regaining his awareness, he managed to hear the end of her question. Yes, Sun Unit Sama, I'm fine. Looking at the boy, Sun Unit can tell he's anything but fine. She becomes concerned for the boy, his eyes looking like they did the night they spoke at that bar. Damn it, and he was making progress, she thinks. Trying to come up with a tangible way to reassure Naruto, she says. Naruto, we will launch a full investigation into the fire no matter where it leads. You have my word. Taking some comfort that someone cares enough to do something, Naruto thanks for that in her concern. If that's all Sun Unit Sama, I need to arrange for a place to stay for the night. Why not stay at the Senju compound with Shazan and I? We have plenty of rooms so you'd have privacy and it be good company. I truly appreciate the offer, but I couldn't impose. You've done enough for me as in I wouldn't want to take advantage of your generosity. Nah, believe me, it wouldn't be an imposition. Besides, I could just always order you to do it, she said, narrowing her eyes. Aware enough to know when he's lost and to feel a bit of fear, Na accepts her offer and heads out to grab some essentials until he is allowed back into his apartment. Kakashi follow him to make sure nothing happens and escort him to the compound. We don't know if the fire was an attack, but we can assume he thinks it is, and with everything else, he's likely to lash out at any perceived act of hostility. Hi, Hokage-sama. As Kakashi exists via Shanyunid hears the signature tapping of Danzo's cane as the elder enters her office. Evening Sun Unit-sama, I understand my student has met with some misfortune. Sighing, Sun Unit can only nod at the statement. And what will you do? I will have it investigated. There isn't much I can do until we have the facts. Forgive me, I don't mean about the fire. I am referring to my student. I cannot imagine he has taken it. Well, what will you do? He'll be staying at the Senju compound for the time being, but outside of that, what can I do? He looked at his limit, and I'm worried that if anything else happens, he'll attack. So, why not let him? Seeing go wide-eyed, Danzo continues. Not in the village, of course. Give him and Kakashi a mission that guarantees combat. Let him direct that energy at safe targets instead of sitting on it. I guess that's better than him going after Hyashi. That could be debated, Danzo says as he leaves her office. After the initial shock, Tsunade can only laugh at Dano's parting remark. At the Hokage monument, sitting on top of his father's head, Naruto looks out onto the village. So lost in his head, he nearly didn't sense his visitor. I'd really rather be alone with my thoughts. Humor an old man, would you? I thought my humoring you was one of the reasons you turned on me. Sandame-sama, Naruto replied. Maybe you have a point. Maybe. What can I do for Sandame-sama? I heard about your apartment. I just wanted to see if you were all right. I am just great. Will that be all? Nah. It doesn't have to be like this. I know I've made mistakes. I tried to make up for past failures by saddling you with baggage you didn't deserve. You'll never know how much I regret it and its consequences. Great. Just great. You regret the consequences. Well, I have to still live with them. Everyone's so sorry after the fact. What good is your sorry? Hi coerces Hinata to break off all ties with me because of your opinion of me. I lose the person I love. But hey, at least you regret your actions. What a fair trade that is. Naruto, I didn't know. Let me speak with Hiashi. See if I can fix this. You can't. You know what kind of person he is. I'd have to hold a kunai to his throat before he'd ever admit he was wrong. Nor would he pass up this chance to keep Hinata under his thumb. For all I know, your irrational fear of me was only a pretense, and he would have always had a reason to pull this. Nah, I'm sorry for everything, for not trying harder. I'm sorry. I believe you. I'm just not sure how much it matters. Naruto says before he departs, leaving Hirozen alone. I will make this up to you, Naruto. I promise. The next day, Naruto, do you understand the mission? Yes. We're about to make some, have a really bad day and then no days after that. That's a way of putting it. The encampment should be within your sensory range. What can you tell me? About 30 chakra signatures, only 2 significant. So, missing Nin. So, how would you like to handle this? Kakashi asks as he signals for his pupil to stop. I have an idea. It should handle most of them while driving the missing Nin in a controlled direction. If they get out, and how do you plan to drive them to my direction to this? Nali smirks before creating 15 cage bushens. You'll see, sensei. They should be in position in 15 minutes. Nodding to the blonde, Kakashi and Na continue onto the camp. Getting the feedback from 4 of his clones, Naruto informs Kakashi that they're in position and he'll be back to help with the missing Nin. Kakashi only has to wait 2 minutes longer when he feels a large coordinated chakra spike. Fire style, dragon flame bullet, wind style, great breakthrough. After that, all that was heard were screams as the white-hot flames raged through the unsuspecting encampment. Naruto had predicted the 2 missing Nins would make it out of the ambush, but he had underestimated himself. Only one did. Kakashi Hatake. What do I owe the pleasure? I was Diamond Dog. Oh. Naruto was right. I am about to give this, the worst day of his life. Kakashi thought with a bit of glee. However, his fun was not to be. As the two were squaring FF, I was Diamond Dog suddenly found himself with a slit-throat courtesy. One blue-eyed Uzumaki. Naruto, what has Uncle Kakashi told you about ruining his fun? Not too precisely. Although, sensei, that reminds me. We need to talk. Yes, I believe we do. Given all of this, Kakashi said, pointing to the funeral pea still burning. Oh. No, that can wait. Sensei, you're a higher-ranked shinobi. Yes. Flatterer. Yes, I am. So why is it every time we come across an enemy ninja, none of them consider running from you? Zabuza, I somewhat get, but the rest of them. It can't just be pride. What are you getting at? Sensei, are you some legendary? It's the only thing that makes sense. Kakashi can only laugh. Yes, nah, I am. I go out of my way to antagonize enemy ninja. I figure if they feel some type of way about it, they can fight me. It usually ends poorly for them when they do, and I get a workout. Fun for everyone until they end up dead, I suppose. Now wrap him up so we can head back. You're weird, sensei. I've seen you have full-on debates with 20 copies of yourself. Let's not judge. Fair enough, Na says as he finishes sealing the body. The mission report in itself is mildly disturbing. Maybe she's being hypocritical since the mission was wholesale slaughter, but killing 29 people with 3 jutsu, that's not normally the effortless killing of AB rank Iwan Nin to top off the night, and Tsunade doesn't know whether to be concerned. Proud. Or relieved. Concerned because a 13-year-old has shown the ability to bring a lot of death very quickly without much effort. Chakra. Am I right? Proud because he's only been serious trained for less than a year. Counting the Chunin exams, and this kid can bring a lot of death quickly and without much effort. He's what a Enjutsu specialist should be. Not those idiots that exchange Enjutsu like it's a game, but knowing what jutsu to use and when to end the fight. If they were on better terms, Serbi Sensei would likely have an ideal apprentice in Naruto Chakra for days and an intuitive grasp of Enjutsu. It's a shame, really. Oh. And finally, relief. Why would Tsunade be relieved? Because he didn't bring that death in the village on, say, a certain clan of arrogant bastards. Yay. She's going to go with relief on this one. BT was truly disturbing was Danzo's giggle. He was giggling like a pervert reading. It was unsettling. If that's all, Naruto, you are dismissed. And with a nod, her favorite blonde leaves. Turning to the Junin in the room. Kakashi, I've asked you to keep me of his progress. You never mentioned he was learning fire release. That's because I didn't know. Tsunade-sama, I just thought he'd throw a lot of those exploding kana he's fond of. Danzo, do you have something to contribute? I didn't know he knew any Kaiden jutsu. I attempted to get him to complete the nature manipulation exercises, but when he started them, he sighed. And I quote, I don't like fire style. It feels like mindless destruction. No wonder it fit the temp so well. So, I assumed he had stopped developing it. Apparently, I was mistaken. Danzo said with a shrug, okay, I need you both to impress upon him. He can't keep his abilities a secret from us. We need to know what he can do so we can plan for the Akatsuki. Also, you really let him stop learning something because of that. I never learned Doden Jutsu because I thought Hirozen was a bit of a bastard, so I could relate. I'm surrounded by weirdos, Tsunade said more to herself than anything in Am. All right, gang. Good to have you all here. I know these quarterly meetings can be a bit dry, but they are important. So, I'm going to get the most pressing news out of the way. We've had a bit of a setback. It has been confirmed the Sandy is currently out of play. It'll take at least 3 years for it to form. So, we're going to be switching plans a little. We'll be taking more missions while Zetsu keeps tabs on the other containers. Now, I know this is disappointing, but things happen and this is no one's fault. With that out of the way, Kuzu, how are we financially? Good, Leader Sama. If we keep our current mission intake, we'll have some nice reserves when we start collecting containers again. Excellent. So, with the major things out of the way, does anyone have anything to say? Issues needing addressing. I have one, Leader Sama UHN. Then Daron, you have the floor. I'm concerned. I feel like we've formed a bond here, but that is threatened when one of us seems to not want to contribute. And by one of us, you mean me. Yes, Itachi. I mean you. And what hurts the most is you're the one that recruited me. I thought we had such a good time, but after that, you just can't be bothered. He's right, Itachi. When I try to discuss Jashin with you, I can tell you aren't even listening. Being a criminal is one thing, but no need to be. Use your words. Tachi, __, I hate you so much. Kiss. So very much. Love you too, Tachi, __. Look, guys, I know I'm not the warmest person. I tend to keep my own counsel. I don't know why. It's just my inclination, but I understand how that can be disharmonious to the group and our aims. I can't promise to change overnight, but I can try. So, why not start now? Tell us something about yourself. Let's see. My name is Itachi. I like Pocky, Genjutsu. I loved my little brother. I hate war and arrogance. My hobbies are training, people watching, and break dancing. I seek peace. You break dance? Kiss asked. Yes. We need proof. The rest of the group chorus. What followed was Itachi pulling off an impressive series of moves. All right. Well, that was entertaining. Thanks, Itachi. Now, if there is nothing more, why don't we bring it? Group hug, shouts Hedon. The training period had come to an end. Now was the time to see if he would be accepted to the elite of the village's shinobi forces. If he succeeds, there will be no more saving princesses, which he's done twice since becoming a Tunin, but embracing the darkness of his chosen profession. The darkness that molded Itachi and in some respect broke Danzo. He had been concerned if he could really do it, keep up with the Andu forces, but like so much of his life, the decided lack of choice makes the concern moot. Right now, that lack of choice is represented by 4 Andrew agents attempting to take his head in the middle of this forest at night. I need to create some space and regroup, Na thought as he dodged a series of cani, barely perceivable in the darkness of the night. Knowing the goal of the cani was to herd him into a trap, Narat instead darts to the source, immediately creating 2 cage bunch and having them disperse to blind high. Assailant. Using the temporary distraction, Narat hurriedly runs deeper into the forest. Same report, commanded Tora. He distracted me with chakra smoke. Takeo and is currently running deep into the forest. He's likely setting up traps. We've lost the element of surprise. Damn it, how did we let a recruit slip past us? You underestimated him, Tori. We all did. How do we proceed? Carefully, said Tora. 4 shadowy figures give pursuit in a diamond formation, looking for the potential new recruit. In their haste, they miss the Kani positioned in a triangular fashion until it was too late. Uzumaki-style triflame formation barrier. Fuan, Naruto calls out, ensnaring the Forbu in his trap. Naruto emerges from the tree, breathing a visible sigh of relief that his trap worked until he sees one of the figures disperse into mud and is immediately on guard, narrowly ducking the Odoki aimed for his head. Steadying himself, Naruto puts his hands on the Kodaki, sharing a scabbard on his lower back, awaiting the charge. The 2 shinobi don't move, waiting for the other to give them the smallest of openings. And feeling confident, he found one. Ryan attacks. Quickly closing the distance, Ryan performs a vertical slash on Naruto, who blocks the attack with one of his Kodaki while taking a swipe at Ryan's neck with other. Tilting backward, Ryan avoids the attack and creates space between the 2. Seeing the first light of dawn, Na knows the test is almost coming to a close and fights back a grin with the utmost effort. Seeing time is almost up, Ryan dashes toward Na, hoping to subdue the potential recruit and begins a relentless assault. While practiced, Na is not as skilled with his blades as his attacker is and is being overwhelmed by the superior Kenjutsu artist. Soon enough, Ryan has his blade to Naruto's neck, forcing him to drop his weapons. Do you yield? Why would I do that? You're good kid, but don't get yield before I hurt you to prove a point. Do what you must, but you should be more mindful of your surroundings, Naruto says as he disperses into a cloud of smoke. Earth-style swamp of the underworld as all Ryan hears before he sinks into the ground. Clapping was the first sign someone else was there. Someone capable to slip past his sensory ability. When he looks up to see where the sound is coming from, he sees the Anbu Commander Dragon. You did very well, Na. I would like to personally welcome you into Anbu. We take the most dangerous missions, often unseen and unheard. This is not the place for personal glory, but service to your village and the Hokage. From henceforth, you will be known as GMA. Congratulations. Be at Anbu HQ in 1 hour. Dragon said, immediately leaving Baishan afterward. As the shadow clone maintaining the barrier dispersed and GMA helped up Ryan, he can't help but wonder what the next 3 years of his life will entail. Hokage-sama Dragon. How'd he do? Better than expected. We always tell recruits they must make it to dawn, but truthfully they rarely do. He accomplished all he needed 2 hours within to the test. Allowing herself a small smile, Sununit speaks, who are the recruits that managed to last the entire night? Beside Uzumaki-san only Anko Midarashi and Itachi. It's been a 1.5 years since Naruto's entrance into Anbu and the blonde shinobi has taken to his assignment like a fish to water. While Kakashi had done an excellent job training him, the truth of the Anbu is that you simply cannot be prepared for what they do to new recruits by design. Whatever your level may be, they simply go beyond it. So, you do not get complacent. The training and the missions are hard, but Na has never felt more powerful. Every skill has improved. This is not to say that the entire time there has been smooth. His first assassination mission did not go off as cleanly as one would hope. GMA, you will be paired with same for this mission. We believe one of our brokers is leaking information to Iowa. We've had an increasing number of skirmishes with their shinobi and the pattern lead us to him. The order is to remove him, but it cannot look like an assassination. Hi Tora Takeo, when and where should I carry this out? GMA asked, trying to hide his nervousness. The target is paranoid and has a security system that makes his house nearly impenetrable without notice. However, it only activates at night given how sensitive and cumbersome it is and has a timed release for the morning. You'll need to sneak in before nightfall, carry out your mission, and wait until dawn to slip out unnoticed. Tora said. Does the target live alone? Asked Same. No, he has a wife and 3 kids, but she takes the children on an annual trip around this time every year. That's when you'll strike. If there are no further questions, I want you two to leave immediately. Hi, both subordinates said. It took 3 days of travel to get to the town in Earth Country, and just like Taurus said, the wife had taken the kids. GMA found an accessible entry point. It being unseasonably warm made their target keep a window open. A simple hinge and GMA snuck through the window with no problem and stowed away in a cellar. Shortly after gaining entrance, the target left, returning almost an hour later with an unforeseen complication. Apparently, the target had or was continuing to have an affair, one that produced a child. That child was currently in the residence. A sense of dread overcame GMA as he debated whether he should continue the mission or put it off for later. Each option carried risks, but if this man was supplying Iowa with information on our missions, therefore movement of our forces, a delay could result in fatalities among Leaf Nin. Steeling himself, GMA continued to wait until 3 o'clock a.m. when he created a shadow clone and snuck into the target's room. That shadow clone immediately blurred the hand signs for a privacy seal while the original GMA put a paralysis seal on the target. Reaching into his waistband, GMA pulled out a syringe filled with potassium chloride. Forcibly opening the target's mouth, GMA injected the poison under the target's tongue. The effect was near instantaneous as the target's eyes became wide, but the paralysis seal prevented him from moving. Not even a minute later, the target was dead from heart failure. Given the man's age and size, no one should ask too many questions. And given the potential scandal of his love child, the focus may be on elsewhere. Just as GMA dispersed his clone and dropped the privacy seal, he heard footsteps coming down the hall. Quickly entering the bedroom closet, GMA waited for the child to enter the room, praying he would just go to the bathroom. Dad, I had bad dream. Can I sleep in here? The child asked. Dad, the child said as he shook his father. Dad, he said a little more desperately as the man continued to be unresponsive. Dad, wake up, please. He screamed as the child broke down. He pleaded with his father to awake, hoping this an elaborate prank, or if not, he'd be granted a miracle, GMA assumed, but neither of those happened. What made it worse was that the kid, likely not a frequent visitor, didn't know how to deactivate the security in case of emergency, so was locked in a house with his dead father and his father's murderer. Around 6 o'clock and the security system disabled for the morning, and the kid ran out of the house toward the neighbors. GMA took this opportunity to leave and meet up with Sam. After a few days of traveling in mostly silence, Sam asked GMA, why didn't you just send in a shadow clone? Shadow clones can only do what the original can do. I didn't know if I could kill a civilian like that. So, sending a shadow clone was too big a risk given they can think for themselves and choose not to follow my directives. Nothing more was said until they arrived back into Konoha. It took a few days and a lot of talking with Tsunade to get Na out of his funk. The talk helped with the nightmares he was having. Because the two were often paired up on their mission, Naruto became closer to Same than his other squad members, which is saying something because the squad as a whole were pretty close. This is the team dynamic Naruto wished he had while on Team 7, but it was nice to have it now. Na helped Same with his Enjutsu and Same taught Naruto Kenjutsu with a katana. While he'd likely always prefer his dual Kadiki, he was never one to turn down training. Besides, it made his mom incredibly happy. My Sochi is finally learning to fight with a proper blade. Once you get adept at the basics, maybe I can show you a few katas. Nay, Kasha said as she stroked Naruto's hair as his head lay in her lap. I'd like that, although I think my dual Kadiki are proper blades. They seem to cut through everything I need them to. PFD. Why have 2 blades when one can do? Katanas rule all databane. Naruto could only snicker in response and nod in agreement. If it made her happy, he'd learn as much about wielding a katana as he could. His time in the Ambu was not without lose, as a mission in Rice Country saw same fall to one of Orochimaru's former followers. Due to his fall, Odo had been in disarray and Ambu teams were tasked with handling the most dangerous elements there. It had been a routine mission with the squad until they had to separate. There were 4 large chakra signatures in the area. Same and GMA got stuck with 2 with interesting and lethal Kekai Genka. One had Shoten, the other Shikachumaku. Both were a bad matchup for S. But seeing as how the bone guy looked sickly, it was decided GMA would take the crystal girl and hurry back to him as fast as he could. The fight between GMA and the Shoden user lasted longer than he would have liked, as the crystals offered powerful offensive and defensive options, managing to wound GMA with a crystal spike. However, he managed to catch her off guard with a wind-empowered exploding Kani. While he wasn't enough to kill her, the blast threw her back and left her unprepared for the Kani that was sunk into her skull to the ring on the handle, killing her instantly. As GMA raced off to help Same, he saw his comrade and friend being run through with a bone sword. As the bone user appeared to have an advanced form of the cursed seal, trying to keep calm, GMA created 4 cage bunch and each charged toward his final opponent. One clone removed Same from the vicinity of the fight while the others went on the attack. Even with wind chakra coating their blades, the cuts didn't do significant damage to the Odo Nin, which was fine. The attack was just a misdirection. Anyway, the Odo Nin didn't notice the 3 Kanai surrounding him in a triangular fashion, nor was he fast enough to escape the fire barrier, the same barrier GMA used in his entrance test. GMA could tell the bone user looked smug, and it was all confirmed when he spoke. "You can trap me, little Ambu, but the barrier will eventually fall. And when it does, I'll kill you like I did your comrade." Yule. He didn't finish his diatribe as he was engulfed in white-hot flames. Flames hot enough to melt steel or incinerate a body. Had this been 6 months previous, the now pile of ashes may have had a reason to be confident. But not being satisfied with just making a barrier, Na improved his technique. So each elemental barrier offered a form of attack. Wind barriers offered a perfect vacuum in which to suffocate those entrapped. The lightning barrier could shock someone with increasing levels of intensity, and the fire barrier would burn someone alive. It was cold comfort, however, as even avenging his friend did little to dull the pain of having lost him. The trip back to Konoha was quiet for the squad as they mourned the fallen. It was once again Tsunade who helped Naruto through his grief, as she had experienced what not mourning properly could do to a person. Speaking of Tsunade, Naruto still lived at the Senju compound with her and Shazan. The investigation into the fire was completed shortly after he was inducted into Anbu. The duration caused by the thoroughness of the investigation. While Naruto was incredulous that the fire was caused by faulty wiring, the fact that the fire started on a level below his gave credence to the results. Deciding not to let his history override facts, he accepted the fire as an unfortunate accident off a poorly maintained building. One that got the building manager and owner into some serious trouble over. Tsunade is scary when she wants to be. Her ability to invoke terror is how she managed to make Naruto promise he'd have dinner with her at least twice a week if he were in town. When he initially moved into the compound, he attempted to stay out of Tsunade and Shizun's way, which led to some faulty assumptions, namely that he wasn't comfortable around them. After an awkward conversation, Naruto admitted that he had lived alone for so long he simply didn't know how to live someone else or be a proper guest, so he just tried to be as out of the way as possible. The 2 ladies reassured Na that he was more than just a guest and should think of the compound as his home. It took a while, but they all eventually settled into a nice groove. Na particularly loved the training grounds. They were serene, and it was a remote one where he was trying to take his Dodon and Sweden manipulation to the next level after seeing the level Tora Tai Chicho was at the releases. It took a few months mainly because he simply couldn't use his clones for this. But he eventually able to perfect the earth-style rampart of flowing soil and the water-style waterfall basin jutsu to the point he was able to create a 30-foot waterfall with only minimal chakra exhaustion. With some help from Tora Taicho adding a wooden water wheel and Jera aiding in seals, Naruto was not only able to keep the waterfall a secret but make it a permanent part of the property. Both Tsunade and Shazan loved surprise. Naruto had taken to climbing up the waterfall with his hands as a chakra control exercise once he got used to running up it. He eventually asked for some more strenuous exercises as the intensity of the Ambu training and his continued studies in Fujitsu, politics of elemental nations, and anything LSE that struck his fancy meant his already massive chakra reserves were continuing to expand. So, he had to perform hard control exercises to keep up. Speaking of Jiraiya, the two have adopted something of a strained yet professional relationship. Jiraiya offers his input on Naruto's Fujitsu projects and spars when he's in town. He also introduced Naruto to Fukasaku-sama, one of the elder toads Naruto will be training within year 3. The two got along well enough. Apparently, as long as you mind your manners, the old toad isn't so bad. Naruto's training time with Danzo had been limited the first year, not only getting adjusted to the demands of the Ando lifestyle, but Danzo wanted to see how Naruto would develop without his guidance. He was impressed that his young pupil had not only sought to master every jutsu in his arsenal, but had begun experimenting with creating his own. This led to something of an uncomfortable meeting about 3 months ago on the Senju training grounds. Sensei, what is the Sandaime doing here? Nah. For your Enjutsu studies to progress as far as they can, you need training from the greatest Enjutsu mind in the elemental nations, and Hien has graciously offered to help. You may have reservations, but please know you are going to accept his help like an adult, or you won't help you learn the vacuum release nor requests him let you see the Nadaime's notes on his sweetened jutsu. Ah. Come on, sensei. No complaining. Fine. I'll gladly accept your help. Sandaime sensei. Good. My boy. First, I need to see what you can do, so we'll have a spar. Hai said with a gleam in his eyes. The spar was really more of a beating, with Naruto wasting chakra in between. The old man didn't even seem to be trying, which made Na revert back to some of his younger behavior. Oi. You could at least pretend to breathe hard. Gigi mean old Hokage picking on teenagers. Hai had to fight back. His smile as Naruto continued to rant and rave. Time under Danzo or even Naruto's own attempts can only suppress the Uzumaki temper so much. Since Hirozen begun helping Naruto become a master of Enjutsu, there had been a slow thaw between the two. And while Naruto may never trust him like he did as a child, he hoped the boy could forgive an old fool before he departed for the pure world. Naruto had also begun to establish better relationships with much of his graduating class and team guy, with 2 exceptions. While Naruto had already started to develop a friendship with Team 10 due to his training with Asuma Sensei, he also found a great sparring partner in Lee during his off days with the Anbu. Him and Shino still got along well, though it took them some time to navigate the Hinata issue since neither wanted to betray her privacy. But Naruto still wanted to know she was doing okay. Speaking of Hinata, she had made Chunin shortly after Naruto entered the Anbu, and while he couldn't have direct contact with her, sneaking into the Hyuga compound and her room to leave her a gift, a necklace with a star-shaped charm with sapphire and amethyst gems in it. He also left her a scroll on created privacy seals with just hand signs. He had the brightest smile when he saw her wearing her gift at the dinner the sensei threw for the new Tunins. He hadn't seen much of her, but he was aware she was being pushed to start accepting dates from potential suitors. As much as it hurt, he realized that this was going to happen. She requested he not wait for her, and it appeared she wouldn't have the choice to wait for him. And while he wasn't dating anyone, he wasn't exactly alone. Which brings us to the present. I really wish you wouldn't sneak out the window like we're doing something wrong or shameful. I know we aren't. It's just weird being in my idol's house and Yano. I don't. Why don't you explain it to me? Na said, fighting off a smirk. Ah. You're insufferable. It's weird having with my best friend in my idol's house. Okay. Is that what you want to hear? I heard what I wanted to hear last night. A whole lot of yes. Oh. And my name, so I'm good. You're a bastard, Tenten said, now fighting off her own smirk and a bit of blush. That may be, Tension. That may be, but this bastard managed to snag you an awesome birthday present. Oh. Really? Of course. It's in that black rim scroll on the desk, but that's only part of it. Reaching for the storage scroll, Tenten unseals the content and is initially rendered speechless. Rushing over to Naruto, she plants a kiss on his lips and proceeds to thank him. How did you get these? It was during a mission about a month or so ago. We were tasked with removing this element in a mining town, and Raya was there. You have to tell me about it. There really isn't much to tell. It wasn't much of fight. I had to seal off the chakra of this kid he was working with, though. Anyway, after we dealt with him and freed the town, the squad agreed to let me keep the swords to gift to a friend, and here we are. You, Tenten, are the proud owners of the car blades. You sure do know how to spoil a girl, Uzumaki. I do what I do. I think I'm going to be late for training today, Tenten said as she starts to undress. Oh my, you said the car were only part of my present, Tenten says. Oh. You remembered that, did you? Yes. While I was in the shower. Now, what's the other part? I asked Kakashi-sensei to help you mold Raiden chakra. Thank you, nah, she replied with a 1000-watt smile. Of course, you've always been there for me, and I can never truly thank you. So, I figured, why not a legendary weapon? I can't fault your logic. Well, I need to get out of here. I'm incredibly late. Just tell guys sensei you were stoking your flames of you. I'd really rather not. You're coming to my party tonight. Yes. Let me rephrase. You will be at my park tonight, and if I have to come find you, you won't be happy. God. Find Panda-chan. I'll be there. Good. And no fighting. What the hell kind of thing is that to say? I don't just go around fighting people. You know, I can think of 2 specific instances where that was not the case. They were both being, __, also, we never actually fought if you recall. Yes, because you were stopped. Or do you not remember breaking Shino's hand? He should have just let me deck car and I felt crappy that I hurt him. But no one got hurt the other time because I stopped you. Look, I don't have time for this. They'll both be there. Just make polite for me. Fine. Fine for you. Thank you. Now I'm off, Tenten says as she hops out the window and leaves via Shunshin. Deciding to start his day, Naruto showers and changes into some casual clothing before heading to the kitchen where he finds Shazan with an unsettling grin. Oh ho, Narud, __, oh ho. Shizune, what's with the grin? Oh. Nothing. I just heard the most peculiar sounds last night. And this morning, I saw someone make a hasty exit from your bedroom window. Really, I may have to look into the security seals then. We shouldn't have intruders where the Hokage resides. Is that how you want to play this? I don't have the foggiest as to what you mean, Shazan-chan. Okay, but remember, you wanted this. Anyway, what's on the agenda today? I have to meet the new member of my squad today and Tenten has her party tonight. But other than that, my day is pretty open, so who knows? Alright, well, I've got to get to the hospital, but I'll be seeing you later, study glad you could make it. Sorry, sensei, I had a late start. It's fine. Lee and Nei are sparring, so we have a bit. Oh. My rival informed me that Na got you a most youthful present. Kakashi said he'd be by before training ended it to set up a schedule. The two walk over to where Lee and Neji were concluding their spar. Hi Tenten. Happy birthday. Thanks Lee. Guy and Lee soon depart to stoke the youthful flames, leaving Tenten and Neji alone. Tenten, I noticed you were coming from the opposite direction of your apartment. Good morning to you too, Neji. I see you're still consorting with the Uzumaki. I don't see how that's any of your business. You had the opportunity to be the one I consort within. You turned me down. It isn't that simple. There are clan matters to consider. I'm not free to simply do as I wish without consequence. So, you've said and yet you didn't even take a chance. At least Hinata and Na were brave enough to try to be together. You won't even see if it's possible. So, now what? You won't be with me, but no one else can either. What do you want me to do? I've been cursed, fated to serve and be controlled by the main branch. And you do nothing to change it. Do you ally yourself with Hinata? Do you try learning Fu and Jutsu? Do you even try to get me information on the seals or Naruto could begin to help you? No, you just sulk and __, while laying down and taking it. You do nothing to improve your situation. And yet you have the nerve to judge me, to shame me, you arrogant prick. Tenten, I've apologized about that. And yet you always feel free to offer a snide comment about one of my oldest friends, someone who was there for me when you rejected me. Who was willing to defend me to hell with the consequences. Look, I can accept you don't want to be with me. I was hoping you'd either take a chance or if not, we could still be friends, but now I'm not sure I even want to remain on the team. I won't be a perpetual target for your disrespect. I'm not Hinata, and I don't feel like I owe you a damn thing. Before Ne could respond, Tenten leaves via Shunshin. Neji's feelings of guilt quickly turn to anger as he deems the source of his rift with Tenten to be caused not by his actions, nor ironically by fate, but by Naruto himself. Having selecting a sufficient target, Neji heads off to find the Uzumaki to confront him once and for all. Back at the Senju compound, we find Naruto currently sitting by the Senju waterfall, as he called it, entertaining company. So why am I here again? Because I want to bro down with my favorite summons. You're just bored, aren't you? I'm so incredibly bored, Gamakichi. Why not train? I have something to do later on, so no getting sweaty before then. Garden, I've seen to it. Daikons are nearly ready to be picked. Ooh. Awesome. You'll have to send me a few. Of course. What about working on some seals? Considered it. I don't want to lose time because I'm too involved. Besides, I need some non-shinobi hobbies. Well, you're in quite the pickle, bro. That's what I've been say. Before Naruto finishes his statement, he lets out a hard sigh as he senses someone approaching. Looks like I won't be bored for long. Kami must want to teach me a lesson. What's that now? There's someone on his way here, and this person isn't a fan of me, nor I him. I should have enjoyed the lull. Oh well, let's get ready to greet our guest. Nay, I'm down. Think you'll fight? Hopefully not. It would upset Tenten and Hinata if I hurt him. Well, I got your back. Thanks, Key. Moments later, a seething for a Hyuga. Anyway, Neji arrives. Usu, do you often come on clan compounds uninvited? I hope you have a good justification for this lapse in deorum. You realize the Hokage resides. Yes. Since when do you care about Dorum? Logical fallacies won't save you. Now, why have you disturbed my toad friend and I? Whatever your relationship with Tenten is, it needs to end. Nay, we've done this before. I'm not interested in doing it again. Leave the grounds and never attempt to bring this up again. Na says as he turns his back to Ne toward the waterfall. I will not be dismissed by you, Uzumaki. You will cease this unsorted relationship even if I have to make you. Na can only laugh at this foolish boy, angering Neji further. Neji, we've done this before. What Tenten and I do is none of your business. If you want it to be your business, then find your backbone. Coward. Now reaching his breaking point, Neji dashes toward Na, causing him to turn and face him just as Neji lashes out with a palm strike directly to Naruto's heart. A potentially fatal blow if this Na weren't a shadow clone. Before Ne can process what he just attempted to do, he feels a hand grab his right calf and then everything goes black. When Neji regains consciousness, he sees that he is on a couch in Hyashi's office with Hyashi, Naruto, and Hinata looking at him expectantly. Now that he's awake, we can resolve this. Your member entered the Senju clan grounds uninvited and proceeded to attack me. The Hokage will have to be informed about this as it is her clan grounds and I am her guest. I hope you and she can resolve this issue without too much hassle. Hi Ashi-san, Na said before dispersing bristling at the lack of proper honorific Hyashi glares at Neji. Because of your foolhardy actions you have likely shamed the clan. I don't know what I'll have to do to resolve this, but it'll likely leave me on even shakier ground with the Hokage, someone I might add who is not exactly fond of me. If it were Serbia-sama we could have come to an understanding, but with Tsunade she will want a pound of flesh, so you need to explain to me what was worth you attempting to kill a fellow Leaf Nin on the Hoage familiar land. It was a personal matter, Hyashi-sama. The Uzumaki has a way of infuriating me and I lost my composure. It will not happen again. No, that is not good enough. This is the second time I have heard about you attempting to attack him. Only this time you got your handed to you. Hi Sama. He used tricks. The Uzumaki could never defeat me in combat. Are you really this foolish? Nay. He brought you here, knocked out and tied up with ninja wire. If that had been any enemy, he'd have killed you, possibly after having removed your eyes. You are not a child. You insisting that tricks do not count could get you killed someday. Hi, Hyashi-sama, will that be all for now? As Neji exits, Hyashi turns to address Hinata. You were awfully quiet on this issue. I'm sorry. What was I to say? Hinata asks, adopting an emotionless mask. As the Aries, you are expected to have opinions on matters that affect the clan. I'm not sure what opinion there is to be had. Nei's error is on you to fix. Seems pretty straightforward. Will you be present at this meeting? No. I have other matters to attend to. If I may be excused. Yes. Hinata. Go on. Thank you. I can only slouch in an unhugo-like manner as he thinks. She doesn't even refer to me as father anymore. Allow for the moment to pass. Hyashi prepares to meet and hopes she's not out for blood. Entering Ambu HQ, Naruto sees his squad has already gathered. Am I late? He asks. No. Gamma, we've actually all just got here early. Let me formally introduce you to our new permanent squad member, Habi. Hello, Habi. Nice to have you on board. Thank you, Gassen. So, GMA, since you weren't here for your entry test, why not show her around and familiarize her with our schedule? Hi, Taicho. Habi, if you can follow me. As the two walk around the HQ, Naruto informs her of their training schedule and primary responsibilities as a squad along with the specializations of each squad member. So, what would be your specialty? Habi, Taiyatsu, poisons, and interrogation. Excellent, with those you should fit right in. How about Enjutsu? What are your affinities? Primarily Sweden with a weaker Raiden secondary. Awesome. If you ever want help with your Sweden jutsu, let me know. You have a Sweden affinity. Yes. But I've completed the nature manipulation exercises for every element but lightning. That's impressive. No wonder you're the Enjutsu specialist on the team. Scratching the back of his head at the praise, Na can only nod at the compliment as he finishes the tour. Do you know what kind of weapon you'll be wielding for your Kenjutsu requirement? I was thinking a ninjutsu. Cool. Ryan will be the biggest aide in the squad. No Takeo in the entire Ambu. What about you? Primarily I use dual Kodaki, but I have been learning forms with a katana as well. Bit of a jack of all trades. I take it. I guess more than likely I just need hobbies that don't revolve around the shinobi arts. You could get a girlfriend. My so forward, hubby-chan, and we've only just met. Why? I don't even know what you look like out of your mask. First, if you must use an honorific, I will be called Hubbyheim. Secondly, I didn't say it would be me, Gachin. Wait. If I can't call you Hubby-chan, then there is no way you'll be calling me Gachin. Why not? It fits. Something about you just says Gachin. As your Shay, I will have to insist you not call me that. And as your Takeo, I must insist she does. Tora said from behind the pair. Ah. That's mean Tai Chicho. Naruto says as Hab and Tora laugh at his predicament. Sununad Sama. Hi, Sama is here to see you. Thank you. Shazan escort him in. Shazan left and promptly returned with Hyashi, who had been dreading this meeting. Times have not been great for the Hyuga clan head for the year or so. The clan has been stagnating. New business ventures have been drying up, going to competing concerns. And if that weren't bad enough, it is starting to filter through the nation that Hyashi does not have the influence with the Godam that he had with the Sanding. This, of course, has angered the elders of his clan and has only increased the pressure upon him. His only saving grace is that these same elders are in no rush to see Hinata take over as clan head, fearing the changes she would instill. But that doesn't mean they can be a perpetual pain in Hyashi's. Sama, Hyashi says with a polite bow. Thank you for coming, Hyashi. It appears we have some issues to discuss. Yes, one of my clansmen attacked a guest on your estate. How can we remedy this before things escalate? Oh, there won't be any need for that. Na explained what happened. Said it was just poor little boy with unresolved feelings. Asked me to just let the issue lie, which I've agreed to. Thank you, Tsunade. Sama, don't. I also issued Naruto an order. If Nei should attack him again, Naruto is to treat him as a threat and respond to any acts of violence with extreme prejudice. Sama, you can't be serious. Why can't I? Na isn't Nei's punching bag, and I'm not going to let his attachments get him hurt. All of this is moot as long as Neji never attempts to attack him again. I won't stand for this. You're telling me you've ordered my nephew's death and you expect me to be okay with it? Hashi, look at me. What makes you think I'm concerned about what you will and won't stand for? I've shown you mercy. I expect gratitude. As far as your nephew is concerned, it's my understanding that you're partially the reason he's wounded so tightly to begin with. He hates the main branch, but can't lash out at you, so he picks weaker targets. Hurt people. Hi Ashi. I will not be discussing internal clan issues with you, but it strikes me that you've issued this order specifically because it's against the Hyuga clan. Think what you wish, it matters not. So, is this how it's going to be between a Tsunade-sama? Needlessly antagonistic. How have I antagonized you? How have I harmed you? You've ordered a seasoned Ambu to murder my clansman should he step out of line. I've ordered an honored guest of the Senju to defend himself against a known threat. You make it sound like Ne will no matter what attack Na again. He may. I've impressed upon him how bad it would be, but he may. I don't think he deserves to have his life ended if he should. Are you serious? I know you don't value Naruto, but that stupid boy tried to turn his heart to mush. You keep this up and I'll execute the little myself. Hi. Don't test my patience. He isn't being charged with anything. Your clan isn't being sanctioned. Nothing has happened, and as long as you keep your clan members under control, nothing will for now. But what about the next time you have a convenient reason to take action against my clan? Hi. Can you just say what you want to say? Fine. Hokage-sama, you've never been a fan of my clan. This is well known, but ever since I made Hinata choose, you've all but openly hostile toward me. I know you've taken to the boy, but that doesn't give you the right to try to dictate internal clan matter. How have I tried to interfere in your clan? Give me one specific example. If you can't, stop making things up. And if I happen not to like you because of something you did, actions have consequences for everyone, even the great Yashi Hyuga. So, you don't even bother to deny it. Deny what? That I don't like you. Sure. Not a fan. That's not illegal, Yashi. And all over that boy. It's absurd. What's absurd is keeping two people who care about each other, who have been nothing but good for each other, away from each other. I have my reasons, not that I need explain myself. Oh yes, I'm aware of your reasons, Hashi. Can't even bother to form your own opinion, so you base your decision off what you think the Sandaime felt, not even checking to see if the man has changed his opinion. A cynical person might assume this was an attempt to rein in an ace that might be getting a bit uncontrollable, one not so tied to tradition. Start making her make compromises early until you manage to compromise her so nothing has to change. Hiashi looked as if he'd be struck. He couldn't deny that part of his motivation was to make sure Hinata wouldn't uproot too many of the Hyuga traditions, firmly believing that ties to the past is what give a clan substance. He knew he was being unduly cruel when he said Naruto had nothing to offer the clan. And if Manado and Kusha were still alive, he'd likely have been run through with either Kusha's katana or those damn chains. But simply keeping Hinata in line wasn't his only motivation. War is on the horizon, he said barely above a whisper. Shocked at how defeated he sounded, Tsunade allowed the breach into Kororum. I may be a hard man, some say unbending, but I do love my children. I know how happy those two make each other. But Naruto's burden has made him a marked man, and the shinobi world has been at a state of peace for too long. If he manages to survive the Akatsuki threat, what of Iowa? Should any senior Iowa shinobi ever get a good look at him, they'd likely mobilize a platoon of assassins just at the mere possibility that he is Manato's son. Kumo may do the same, or they may come after those he cares about. Kumo would think nothing of trying to kidnap Hinata again. I won't tie my daughter to someone who will likely be at the center of the next shinobi war. An upcoming war is mere speculation, and Naruto won't be facing Akatsuki alone, nor will he be underprepared. Oh. I've heard some estimates have him as a low-ranked shinobi. Not even 2 full years of dedicated training, and he's lapped everyone in his generation. Did you ever think that a legitimate S-rank Jinchuriki, one who achieved the ranking without the aid of his Biju, might be enough of a spark? But as you said, Yashi, this is all speculation. We all lead dangerous lives. Trying to socially engineer Hinata a long-term partner is folly. Hi Ashi, there is time. Don't alienate your ash over what might happen. If that is all, Hokage-sama. Yes, Yashi, you're dismissed. Tenten's party was taking place on the roof of her parents' weapons supply shop. Since it's a fairly large retail space, there was plenty of room for all the guests to dance and mingle. Some well-placed seals also ensured it would not be too cold. All of the rookies had already arrived before him. Na noticed how he just wanted to go home, but he knew he had to be here for Tenten, so he sucked it up and sought out the birthday girl and sees she's talking with Lee. Happy birthday, Tenten, he says while giving her a quick hug. Thanks, she said smiling. The three shinobi continue conversing until Hinata calls everyone around so Tenten may start opening her gifts. The party was undeniably fun and around midnight everyone starts to clear out. Na leaves some shadow clones to clean up the roof while he Tenten and Team 8 make their exit from the building. So Na, I noticed you didn't get Tenten a gift. You really are a cheap bastard, said Ka. Every member of the group save Naruto and Tenten himself tensed at Ka's barb. He gave me my present earlier, Ka. And if he hadn't, it was not your place to mention it. I can defend myself. Oh. I'm sure he did give it to you earlier. Ka said with a leerous grin, making both Tenten and Hinata uncomfortable at the barely hid insinuation. Na was not uncomfortable. He was not even angry. There was no need. He understood that there was a jaw in need of breaking. The best kind of problems are the ones with immediate solutions. Before he could turn to Ka and carry out his newly formed plan, goal of shutting Ka's mouth, Shino spoke up. I intervened once on your behalf. I felt professional ethics and our burgeoning friendship required as much. However, what I chose to believe as a slip of a brash, loose-lipped, but overall decent person was clearly mistaken. You intended to cause harm when you revealed something you had no right to. And while I've never blamed either of you for my broken hand, I had hoped it would forestall future conflict. Not this time, Shino. He needs to learn to watch his mouth, Na said, barely restraining his temper. Shino simply raises his hand in an attempt to calm his friend, knowing how quickly things could escalate. Na, I don't disagree, but please escort Tenten home while I talk to my teammate. Fine, Shino, if you're free. Let's grab some lunch tomorrow. I'll see you there. Waiting for the two to leave. Shino stares at Ka. You need to grow up, Ka. Whatever issues you have with Naruto need to be resolved. I have no issues with the dead last. Is it my fault he can't take a joke? Kami, I didn't know it was such a big secret. Maybe not, but let's not play games. You outed Tenten and Naruto in an attempt to embarrass him in front of me. Hinata said, what's sad is that I already knew while both were attempting to be discreet, I had noticed a change in how they interacted and deduced that while not fully romantic, their relationship had turned physical. No one needed you to announce it, she said before departing herself. That isn't the way to win her, although you've likely lost any chance of that happening. I don't get it. I don't get why you and she are so drawn to him. Hell, even my mother seems to love that useless shinobi. I don't get it. Who says you need to? I do. I need to know what makes him so special. I want someone to explain it to me. He was always a loser. Someone who couldn't even throw a proper punch. And now you all act as if he's heads and shoulders above the rest. Why do you care? Naruto's increase in skill does not prevent your own. I find this illogical because it wasn't supposed to be like this. It was one thing to always be behind Sasaki. To not be as smart as you or Shikamaru, but to be surpassed by that joke of a ninja is a step too far. He isn't as good as he pretends and I'll prove. When you meet him tomorrow, tell him I want a spar. No restrictions. Fine, Ka. I will inform him, said a clearly displeased Shino. What? Concerned he won't accept the challenge. No. I'm concerned because I know he will. Shino says and then leaves via Shanhen at the request of Naruto. This is Lunar Shinobi Spar. While killing and mamming are strictly prohibited, the winner is determined by successfully incapacitating your opponent and bringing him back to me. However, if I get a sense things are getting out of hand, I will step in. Understood, said Kakashi. Hi. Both opponents said. Both shinobi walked toward the forest with their companions in tow. Hey Kichi, remember what we talked about? Said Na, wearing a midnight blue ensemble with a matching bandana to cover his hair. Instead of his kodaki, he has two rattans equipped with earth chakra seals to reinforce the wood sticks. The rattans were Ima's idea, a way to get used to dual wielding without harming himself or his sparring partner. He enjoyed practicing with the sticks, so he kept it up. Gamakichi is also covered in a midnight blue cloak that hides his orange skin and head. Yay, I got you, bro. You just stay sharp out there and have fun. Na can only chuckle in response, remembering when Shino informed him of the challenge. Na, he wishes to challenge you to a spar. I heard you, Shino. I'm just amazed how talented Ka is at making poor choices. I'm guessing you didn't try to talk him out of this. It would have fallen on deaf ears. KBA is fixated on you as if every step forward you take causes him to take one back. I think you two need this. Na silently considers the offer. He can beat Ka without much problem. That's not being arrogant. It's just the simple reality. Naruto's skill set, his Duan and Sweden releases along with his Fu and Jutsu allows him to control the terrain. Add his ability with shadow clones and he's a one-man assault squad, lethal at any range. But that, almost be an issue in itself. Beat him too quickly and Ka won't be humbled. No, he has to give Ka an apparent advantage and then strip it away from him. Shino could see Naruto's mind at work. The foxy grin adorning the blonde's face as confirmation enough that Naruto is planning something troublesome. I'll do it, Shino, but on one condition. A lunar spar in 2 days. Na sees Shino quirk his eyebrow, but his friend only nods as he exits the table, piecing together what his friend has in store for his teammate. I'd almost pity Ka if he had not brought this on himself. I wish I could disagree with you. Of course, I'll root for my student, but I think Ka has bitten off more than he can chew. Kurani said, yay, but this is probably for the best. Na play with him a bit and bruise his ego, but it's better than an outright beating. Chimed in Asuma before taking a drag of his cigarette. Troublesome blonde. What? Shikiko asked Ino. Given the phase of the moon, there is very little visibility tonight. That would appear to give Ka a definite advantage. So why would Naruto be the one to request a nighttime spar? If this was the Naro from the academy, I would just call it poor planning, answered Shoji. Yes, but that Naruto is long gone. If he was ever real, it means he either has a way to neutralize Ka's advantage or he's saying they wouldn't be Ino. Ugh, to improve his chances anyway, counted Shikimaru. Okay, gentlemen, you have 1 hour or until there is a victor. Hygiene. And with Kakashi's signal, Naruto and Gamakichi disappear with a burst of speed. As soon as the entry to the forest is out of sight, Naruto and Gamakichi separate. Na starts flooding the area with his chakra, making it near impossible to locate him with by non-visual means. After 15 seconds of flooding the forest with his presence, he cuts it off and hides his chakra signature C. Completely. One of the first things Kakashi taught him to do. Naruto's gambit affected Ka and Akamaru as both failed to pinpoint his specific location. Coming to the conclusion that tracking by smell would do them no good, they duo focus on sound. Hearing movement, both head in that direction. Once they arrive, both attempt to extend their senses to locate any movement, but sense nothing. The duo would only have to look up in a tree behind them to see Naruto, perfectly masking his presence until it is time to strike. As fast as he finished the thought, he sees Gamakichi descend upon Akamaru, placing a knockout seal on the Ninken. As Ka turns to defend Akamaru, he is struck in his left knee by one of Naruto's rattan, giving Gamakichi time to abscond with the hound. Ka barely has time to think as Naruto plants a roundhouse on the distracted Inuzuka's jaw, sending him to the forest floor as Na heads to atop the trees once again. If this was going to be the sum total of your challenge, why even bother? Naruto said, his voice projected, not giving away his location. What did you do to Akamaru, bastard? The Inuzuka yelled, but received no response. Rubbing his jaw and trying to shake off the effects of the kick, Ka tries again to pinpoint where Naruto could be, but had no success until he felt a key. CK chakra spike. Turning to the direction of the spike, Ka is met with a cloud of ash. Naruto had performed the fire style, ash pile burning, but did not ignite the ash cloud, instead removing sight and smell from the Inuzuka. KBA instantly begins to cough due to the unexpected cloud. Attempting to ready himself for an assault, he is instantly strict in the neck, then the heart, followed by the lungs and finished with the liver. Once the final attack is delivered, Na returns atop the trees, slashing the carotid artery, stabbing the heart, lungs, or liver. Had I used a bladed weapon, you'd be worse off than just a little pain. That's twice now, I could have finished this. And if we were enemies twice now, I would have taken your life. Potentially moved on to your teammates and killed them too. All because of you, Ka. As much as he wants to respond, Ka is simply in too much pain. The liver shot left him gasping for air, which only made him inhale more of the ash cloud. Retreating to another part of the forest, Car hopes to buy himself some time and maybe think of a strategy for Na. His hope was for naught, as he soon found himself with a noose of ninja wire around his neck, with Naruto descending from a branch above until the two-leaf nin met in the middle of the air. Kia. All I would have to do is focus some wind chakra into this wire and I'd have beheaded you. Trust me, I've done it before, Naruto whispered, recalling a particularly gruesome moment of inspiration. Poor Odo Nin never saw it coming. Seeing that there wasn't much more to be done, Naruto hits Car in the back of his head, knocking him out. He then drops to the ground, catching Car as he ls and removing the ninja wire from his neck. He then shunsons to Kakashi so he can call it. Not even 10 minutes. You get bored too easily, stated Kakashi, looking at the heap known as Car on the ground and his student scratching the back of his head. You know I'm not one to play with my food. Besides, I could have ended it at 3 different times. Figured the point was proven. Besides, it's getting late and I want to get to bed. As the two continued talking, Car began to stir. Looking to see everyone, he realizes he lost. Feeling utterly humiliated, Car does the only thing he could think of. He lashes out at Na. I thought you wanted to fight like a man, not run and hide like a __. You're still the dead last. Couldn't fight me straight up, so you had to play games and cheap shot me. Coward, he all but roared, which earned him a shrug from Naruto. No point in arguing when there is sleep to be had. Yay. Turn and walk away. Maybe that's why Hiashi forbade her from seeing you. Hayukis prefer their women to be with real shinobi, Hiba said with a smirk. Everyone tensed as Naruto stopped moving, his head down and eyes closed. You're going to at least, him. Yes, I'll even lend some of my chakra, said Kurama. No, I promised some I wouldn't hurt him too bad, but I will hurt him, replied Naruto. As the exchange with Car was taking place, Asuma and Karai hurried over to Kakashi and the pair of Chunin. Car, how dare you? You've embarrassed yourself and this team. Apologize right now. I refuse. Nothing I've said is wrong. It's okay. I wouldn't want an insincere apology anyway. Naruto said, still with his back turned to Car and his head down. Car, you requested a shinobi spar and were given just that. Am I to include what you truly wanted was a simple fight? Of course, Dobby, no hiding, no, __, just us going at it. You want to have a go at me? Man, I used to think you wanted Hinata. This is so awkward, sensei. I'm sure you've been in this situation before. How do you handle it? I want to be supportive but not lead him on. Kakashi and Asuma both laugh, which only infuriates Car all the more as he begins to move toward Naruto before being topped by Karana. Sensei, if you would referee one final spar, I think I can humor Car. And since he took a bit of a beating while I'm still fresh, I'll only use Suiden Jutsu. Does this sound fair to everyone? The 3 Jonin look at each other, all recognizing this as a bad idea. Karani tries to reason with Car. Car, you've had your spar and you lost. Just leave it be and move on. Besides, Akamaru is still unconscious. Sensei, I can't. I won't let Naro look down on me. I'd have to care to look down on you. I'd be more than happy to be indifferent toward you if you knew how to shut up. I thought the humiliation in the forest would humble you, but you clearly need an audience. Screw you. I accept, Car says, which causes Naruto to smile. A true smile. Oh. How he loves to unleash his sweetened jutsu. Kakashi has the two separate before signaling for them to begin. Hajime, he says, and the two stay perfectly still. Car looks calculating. Naruto looks unconcerned. Having enough of the inaction, Car launches forward with a Gatsuga, assuming he's too close for Naruto to dodge. Water style. Water formation wall. Na whispers as a massive wall of water emerges from his mouth, causing Car to run into it head first, knocking him out again. Ah. Damn it. I had a whole thing planned and he's already knocked out. Oh well, I'm going to bed. Good night all. Yo. KCHI, let's bounce. He's been knocked out twice. I've got to get him to the hospital. As Karani and Shino leave with Car in tow, Team 10 also departs, leaving on Kakashi and Asuma. That was embarrassing, said Kakashi. Completely agreed Asuma. Walking into his room, Naruto notices something wrong. Turning on his light, he sees his bedroom covered in pink. Pink bed sheets, pink pillows. He goes into his closet and sees nothing but women's clothing. He then comes across a note on his desk, also in pink. Hi, Naru-chan. Do you like how I redecorated your room? Pretty bitching. Right, let this be a lesson to you. Don't obfuscate with your nature. Nah, I like Na-sama. Yes, that'll do. Now, I know you considered yourself something of a prankster in your youth, but if you retaliate, I'll make you take a full physical with that old guy with the creepy ghost hands you tried to drown that one time. For a week. Yep, a whole week of some creepy dude fondling your junk. Anyway, tomorrow during breakfast, you and we are going to gab like girlfriends. Dress appropriately or there will be consequences. Sincerely, Shazan Nisama. You win this round, you psychotic spinster, but there will be payback. Over the final 6 months before Naruto left with Jera, his squad's directive had changed from primarily neutralizing Odo bases to focusing on supports within the Akatsuki network. By focusing on their sources of income, the hope was to either delay them or to make the organization get sloppy and start making mistakes. The information provided by Jerius network and unbeknownst to most everyone, Itachi and Kisame helped tremendously. Through investigation, what the team discovered is that while the organization has done missions for smaller villages in the past and even a few for Suna, their primary source for major work is Iowa. Tsunade reasoned that Iowa may be using the Akatsuki so they don't have to send the best Jonin on high-risk missions while preparing for war, with the added benefit of having the Akatsuki be a distraction from what Iowa is planning. Danzo and Hirozen counseled that it would be a mistake to focus too much on Iowa contacts as it may give away that Konoha knows what Anoi is planning. Agreeing with logic, Tsunade informed Dragon to only move on a single high versus value target within Earth country, but SA dissent and distrust with other links in Akatsuki's support chain. So that is what his squad has been doing. More subterfuge than direct combat, though there was plenty of that. Due to the more delicate infiltration missions required, the squad was paired off and Narit got assigned Hap. She was good at information retrieval. No denying that, but he was ambivalent about his Ambu partner. He'd have to admit that training with her has been a fun and unique experience, but hubby is weird. For one, she insists they need a theme song. That in itself is fine, but she also says she deserves top billing over her. No less. Everyone knows GMA puts the asses in the seats. When he pointed out that ain't nobody came to see you happy, he had to dodge Poison Sunby for an hour. Not just because he thought he was the star of the show, which she vigorously denies he is, but also because he called her hubby when she is to be addressed as hubbyheim. Every time she was quite insistent on that. She also criticizes his on-the-field performance. Hey, Gama-chan. Yes, hubby. She glares at him. Even through the mask, he can feel the glare. Him. You're our N-jutsu specialist. Yes, 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 I am. We were just in a combat situation. Yes. The dead bodies would suggestion that yes. So why don't you ever use any freaking N-jutsu? You always finish things with your Kodaki. Maybe a seal of some sort, but no N-jutsu. Do you even have any N-jutsu? I'm starting to wonder. We've yet to be in a situation that required me to use any. I could just fling 'em about like those pointing to the fallen Rain-nin amateurs, but I am a refined N-jutsu practitioner and as such my standards are different, he said, and then felt her eyes roll. He felt it. How is a NI roll that powerful? He wondered. Whatever, we're having a spar when we get back to HQ. N-jutsu only fine, but when I son you don't complain. I heard you once did a spar restricting yourself to nothing but Sweden. How about we do that? Does hubbyheim want GMA to get her wet? Narit asks and is immediately hit in his side. Shut up, she yelled through laughs. Just grab the rage and no Ken so we can leave. Oi. I'm the Shay here. All in all, the two work incredibly well together and have yet to fail a mission, and were gaining a reputation within quite the fearsome duo. It had taken 4 months to identify that high-valued Iowa target and another month to get adequate information to plan his assassination, which had been assigned to Na. While researching the guy who owned several mines throughout Earth country, which while profitable were a Wesso affront for Iowa B. Lack ops, that meant that his security team were actually Iowa Jan or at the very least H. High Chunin. By most conventional analysis, he was most vulnerable at his office building, but that was only in a relative sense. He always had 2 guards posted outside his door with a squad of 8 within the other floors of the building and 4 more posted outside. Na was never one for conventional means, and thanks to his gender-changing transformation, he didn't need them. It was almost disappointing how easy it was to lead the target around by his GMA gained access to his secure compound in a matter of days with just a little flirting. It just goes to show that the best security in the world can't save someone from themselves. As soon as the target and GMA hang a naive and innocent blonde named ANI were alone, said target found himself with a 7 coated with a neurotoxin in his neck. He'd have to thank Kabi for that someday. After placing the target's body in a scroll, GMA created a shadow clone and had it hinge as the blonde while GMA transformed into his now dead target. GMA could have escaped, but Hirosido, the target's name, however, was the entirety of the mission. If possible, GMA was to eliminate his guardian detail, which GMA figured would be easier in the building once it had cleared out for the day. While waiting for that, GMA managed to copy secure documents. Very little of it regarded the Akatsuki, but there was some information regarding Iowa that Commander Dragon and Tsunade-sama might be interested in. GMA was also able to pill for some funds from Hero's secret accounts. It had taken a team of forensic accountants weeks to pull apart where the money ended up. A boring but useful lesson from Danzo Sensei. The end of the business day came and it was time to put his plan in motion. Hero called out to his guards and the two immediately entered the office only to be greeted with Kana coming for them. The two experienced shinobi easily dodged the projectiles and promptly went to attack, failing to realize the Kanai were hanged shadow clones. The oversight cost them as both had Kanai plunged into their brain stem before they could carry out the assault. Na had his shadow clones hinge into one of the fallen guards each and sealed the originals. He then made a shallow wound to his side and burst a blood pack over it to make it look more severe. With a nod, one of the clones jumped out the window while the other propped the wounded hero as the final part of the operation began. One Naruto and the guard made it down to another pair of the detail. The clone killed one immediately. Hero, what the is going on? We've been betrayed. I've suspected for a while now. The Suchi Kag told me to look into it and I just came across the financial proof. Half the detail has been compromised. Nero attempted to kill me in my office and is likely informing his accomplices. They can't let us leave alive, so they'll likely storm the building. We need to weed out the traitors still inside as fast as we can. Okay, what do you want me to do? Who can we trust? None of the outside guard. They were likely meant to be the extraction team. With him gone, that leaves 3 more we have to take care of. They likely have been alerted yet. So, can I trust you to handle Kiko and JYN? Yes, they should be on the 2nd floor now. Go, and Godspeed. Outside the building. Nero, what was that? What's going on? Hero. He's betrayed us. He tried to have me killed. The detail has been compromised. He has at least 4 working with him. We have to storm the building. You know how much sensitive information he has access to. Go get the others. Meet back here. Go now. Inside the building, Na didn't have to extend his senses to tell the Iowa drone, what is his name, had finished his mission while he and his shadow clone had successfully killed 3 more, leaving 5 in total ready to defend the building. They gathered on the 2nd floor. Hero, you don't look too good. A mere flesh wound. Boy, they're coming to take the building. We don't know if they have additional forces waiting for us, so dragging this out is a bad idea. We need to meet them on the ground floor and end this. They all nodded in agreement. Why? There's no point to this fight. For John and even with an injured person in tow could evade capture. They wouldn't have had that many more men stationed to buttress the extraction if things went pear-shaped. This is just a failure of shinobi tactics. Na thinks as his team makes its way to fend off the traitors. Close quarters makes for crappy conditions for Doden Jutsu. So, the rival shinobi decide to all engage in close quarter combat. Na rolled his eyes. They aren't even attempting to make this difficult. He draws 2 kanai and launches them. Kanai shadow clone jutsu, he said. And the 2 kanai became 10. As soon as they reached the Awanin, Naruto flared his chakra and led off a mighty explosion, killing the rivals, including High S2 shadow clones. Using a burst of wind chakra, Naruto clears the debris to make sure all targets have been eliminated. Once confirming this is the case, Naruto summons 10 shadow clones and gives them a nod, subsequently vanishing without a trace. Boss finally did it. Why are you excited? We already know he can do it. It's still damn cool to see. Take that, man. Whatever. Can we just collapse the damn building already? Hi. 9 clones said in unison before running through the hand signs for Naruto's first original Doden Jutsu. Earth-style seismic collapse jutsu, they stated while slamming their hands onto the ground. Moments later, an earthquake ripped through the foundation of the building, leaving the supporting structure unstable. The shadow clones disperses just as the building started to collapse in on itself. Getting the memory from his clones, Naruto can only smile at a job well done. 3 days later, Naruto is in the Hokage office with Tsunade, Jiraiya, Danzo, Hirozen, Kakashi, and Shazen. Tsunade was reading over a report with a slight smile. Shunazuaki, do you know why you've been called here today? No. Hokage-sama Naro replies and is sincere. While he leaves tomorrow, he didn't think he had any official business left before his departure. As I'm sure you've been told, there are no training wheels in the Anbu. Everything is a trial by fire, including the Jonin exam. To become a Jonin in the Anbu, the agent must successfully complete on S-rank mission alone flawlessly, which you did. It is my great honor to bestow upon you the rank of Jonin. Naruto Uzumaki. May you continue to serve with honor. Tsunade said as she gave Naruto a Jonin vest. Thank you, Hokage-sama. Naruto said with a face-splitting grin. After receiving congratulations from all in the office, Naruto left to prepare for his departure and promotion dinner later tonight wearing his Jonin vest. In Iowa, I've had the nation's best forensic accounts pull apart the transfers. Tell me, why did money from my Black Ops front make its way into shell companies that can be traced back to Rain? I don't know, Sachikage-sama. We've been being hit pretty hard. Someone is setting us up. Maybe Daron maybe or your leader is preparing to turn on Iowa. All I know is what I've told you. He is pretty tight-lipped about his ultimate goal. But we will start moving in a year's time hard and fast. You really should pull Han and Roshi back to the village. They need the protection. They will be fine. You just keep yourself safe so you can come back home when this is all over and take this four-sided hat from me. All in due time, Anoki-sama. Besides, I'd rarely have time for my art if I were a cage. Insa will be moving in a year. Gar will be the first we target. Will he be ready? Don't worry about Gar. Even if he should fall, I have a way to get him back. How are you? You look tired. I look like a 14-year-old Chiobotan, but I am tired. Being a rogue nin is exhausting, and I really don't want to harm another Cease Cage. You understand why that had to be done, don't you? Yes, but apparently Rosa was even worse. I just want to be done with this. I know, Sazori, __, I know. The day has finally come for Naruto to depart for his training with Jiraiya. He had already said his goodbyes to his friends, senseis, and Anbu squad. So, now it's just Jiraiya and Tsunade. Na noticed looked nervous about something and was concerned as he's never seen her nervous about anything. Sama, are you okay? Yes, I'm fine. Here, I have something for you to read while away with the toads. Just know, no matter what you decide, nothing will change. Okay. Sure. Okay. That's enough of the sappy stuff. Let's get out of here. Shut up, Jiraiya, yells as she backs her fist. Please don't break, Jiraiya. It's hard enough getting the pervert to focus on training. A concussion will just make it impossible. Fine. Well, have a good trip and stay safe. I will. Thanks, Na said as he gives a hug. Jiraiya summons Fukusaku to request they be reversed summoned. And moments later, Naruto finds himself in the land of the toads. 1 year, Naruto thinks to himself. While he has grown strong, he knows he isn't at the level of the Akatsuki. Not yet, but with the tasks left to him by Danzo and Hien paired with the training from Jiraiya and the toads, Naruto is confused. Didn't hell get there. So guys, what do you think about this Naruto story? Tell me your opinion in the comments. And if you want more Naruto what if stories, make sure to subscribe to Universe of Naruto. Thanks for watching.